Disneyland, and a week ago they gave us this.
What if the Duchess of Sussex's carefully polished image was hiding a world few knew existed? Fast cuts show Meghan at glamorous events, exclusive Soho House parties, and public appearances with Prince Harry, while Piers Morgan drops shocking revelations on live TV. A former insider claims Meghan kept a secret favor list at Soho House, and the royal family is stunned. And today, we're revealing what those photos and secrets might really mean for Meghan and the monarchy. You know how Meghan Markle has always presented herself as this humble, struggling actress, sipping green juices, journaling about empowerment, and navigating life with quiet determination. That's the story she's told the world for years. She crafted this persona so carefully, it almost became impossible not to believe it. But here's the twist. Behind the cameras, behind the interviews, her life might have been something entirely different. Before she even met Prince Harry, Meghan allegedly lived a lifestyle that clashed sharply with that struggling actress image. Private jets, elite networking events, high-end parties, and exclusive memberships that most people could only dream of. One of the most notable was her membership at Soho House, a club famous for its ultra-exclusive doors and its role as a hub for the rich, famous, and powerful. For someone like Meghan, this wasn't just a place to hang out. It was a gateway to influence, opportunity, and connections that would later help catapult her into the global spotlight. Imagine this: Soho House, with its dim lighting, polished interiors, and invitation-only parties, filled with actors, entrepreneurs, socialites, and billionaires. Photos of the events show meticulously dressed guests, mingling, champagne flowing, and an air of controlled luxury everywhere you look. For someone like Meghan, being part of this world didn't just offer social prestige. It offered a chance to strategically position herself, to network with people who could open doors beyond Hollywood. And that's where the contrast becomes so striking. On one side, the public saw a down-to-earth woman quietly building her career. On the other, insiders describe someone navigating a high-powered, almost elite social circuit with precision, leveraging every opportunity, and keeping careful control over what the public could see.
Harry and Meghan, they get, well, Meghan specifically, her social media gets a significant amount more views than the Prince and Princess of Wales. But I think that it's all about spectacle.
Then came the moment that turned heads, raised eyebrows, and sent social media into chaos. Piers Morgan, on live television, holding a set of never-before-seen photos of Meghan Markle. You could almost feel the air in the studio change. It wasn't just a routine TV segment anymore. Morgan didn't yell or shout. He didn't even smirk. He held the photos with a calm, deliberate intensity that made everyone in the room, and millions watching at home, pause. These weren't casual snapshots. These were glossy, polished images that seemed to capture a side of Meghan the world had never seen. A side that didn't match her carefully curated narrative of struggle and humility.
About substance, which is what we do get from the Prince and Princess of Wales, and it's more about clickbait and generating her own headlines.
Well, here's my thing.
The reaction was immediate. You could practically feel the studio meltdown over the airwaves. Co-hosts were visibly stunned. The lighting in the studio seemed sharper, and the social media explosion began within seconds. Hashtags started trending faster than the producers could blink, and viewers flooded Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok with screenshots, theories, and sheer disbelief. It wasn't just about the photos themselves, it was about what they implied. Suddenly, the story Meghan had told for years, the story of a humble actress building her career from scratch, was being challenged in front of millions. People couldn't ignore the contrast between the image she presented and the life the photos suggested.
A little bit before she met Harry, and then she obviously ghosted everybody.
She rejected you, right?
Well, of course she rejected me, yeah. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter what what did she reject?
The photos showed Meghan in settings that looked like private VIP parties, events filled with influential and wealthy figures, and luxurious Soho House interiors that most celebrities could only gain access to with the right connections. There she was, smiling and mingling, clearly comfortable in a world far removed from the narrative of struggle she had repeatedly shared in interviews. The imagery spoke volumes without a single word. This was someone who had long been embedded in circles of power and influence, and the public noticed it immediately. People started connecting dots between the photos, the timelines, and the luxurious experiences Meghan enjoyed. Yachting trips, high-profile events, exclusive dinners, none of which seemed to align with the image of a struggling actress living modestly. What made the moment even more explosive was how quietly it played out. Piers Morgan didn't sensationalize it. He simply presented the evidence, letting it speak for itself. And boy, did it speak. Within minutes, memes started circulating. Video clips of the TV segment racked up millions of views, and debate exploded across talk shows, podcasts, and news outlets. Everyone had an opinion. Some were shocked, others skeptical, and a few defended Meghan, calling the photos a misrepresentation or taken out of context. But the key point was undeniable. The reveal contradicted a story that Meghan had spent years carefully crafting. Suddenly, the narrative of humble beginnings, struggle, and perseverance was juxtaposed against a lifestyle of luxury, privilege, and strategic access to the elite. It wasn't just the public who reacted. Insiders, commentators, and analysts were all talking about the implications. How had Meghan managed to navigate these elite circles so seamlessly? How did she gain access to a club that's notoriously selective, often denying even Hollywood's biggest names? Who were the people facilitating her journey from mid-level actress to global celebrity? The photos didn't just document events, they raised serious questions about Meghan's pre-royal strategy, her social network, and the way she positioned herself before meeting Prince Harry.
I think I actually tried to, do what with her?
I have no idea, I wasn't there.
So why would you say I was rejected?
Well, what happened then?
She asked to have a drink in my local pub. I met her for an hour and a half.
Right.
And then went back to my immeasurably better looking wife.
Well,
And the tension didn't end with the photos. The silence that followed Meghan's team only added fuel to the fire. For someone known for fiercely controlling her public image, her lack of response became a story in itself. Media outlets speculated endlessly, social media conversations continued to spiral, and the leaked images kept circulating, each one dissected and analyzed frame by frame. For the public, it became a mix of intrigue and suspicion. For critics, it was validation of long-held theories about Meghan's careful reinventions. And for supporters, it raised uncomfortable questions about the nature of celebrity, privacy, and media interpretation in the modern age. The Soho House revelation, in particular, was fascinating because it highlighted a side of Meghan that few had seen. It suggested that her pre-royal life wasn't about struggle alone. It was about strategy, connections, and positioning. Membership at such an exclusive club, access to private events, and interaction with influential figures could easily be interpreted as a calculated approach to building not just a career, but a brand. And the photos provided a visual proof that this side of Meghan existed long before she became the Duchess of Sussex, long before the media frenzy, and long before she stepped into royal life. The impact of the photos was magnified by how they contradicted other parts of Meghan's public narrative. Harry's memoir, Spare, unintentionally reinforced some of these contradictions by highlighting how Meghan used Soho House as a sanctuary and meeting place during their early dates, while Harry presented it as a personal and intimate detail of their romance. For the public, it raised additional questions about how deeply Meghan was embedded in this world. The combination of photos, personal accounts, and Harry's own words created a puzzle that viewers and commentators couldn't stop trying to solve. By the end of the broadcast, it was clear that this was more than just a celebrity gossip moment. It was a cultural flashpoint, a discussion about image, authenticity, and the power of selective storytelling. Meghan's Soho House connections, her lifestyle before royalty, and the leaked images painted a picture of someone far more strategic and connected than the public had been led to believe. Whether you saw it as evidence of careful planning, a social experiment, or just the realities of celebrity life, the reveal had everyone talking. And as social media continued to dissect every angle, the story only grew bigger, proving that in today's world, a single set of photos can ignite debates, challenge narratives, and stun even the most composed public figures. In the end, the Soho House leak was a dramatic reminder that no matter how carefully someone crafts their image, pieces of the past have a way of resurfacing, especially when influential insiders like Piers Morgan bring them to light. It's a fascinating case of perception versus reality, of narrative control versus public curiosity, and of how elite social networks can shape a life in ways most of us could never imagine. Meghan's story, her pre-royal life, and the secret world of Soho House continue to spark debate, and it seems there's no end in sight to the questions, revelations, and shockwaves that these photos created. When we think of Meghan Markle, most people picture a humble actress, someone quietly building her career, sipping green juices, journaling about empowerment, and carefully navigating life with determination. That's the story she sold to the public for years, and many believed it. But the truth behind the carefully curated image may have been a lot more complex, a lot more strategic, and some would argue, far more glamorous. Long before she met Prince Harry and stepped into royal life, Meghan was allegedly moving through social circles that few could even imagine. One name stands out in this narrative: Marcus Anderson, the global membership director of Soho House. He wasn't just any member of her social network. According to insiders, Marcus acted as a kind of shadow guide in Meghan's ascent, helping her navigate a world of privilege, exclusivity, and connections that would later define much of her pre-royal life. Marcus Anderson's role, as described by those familiar with the scene, was subtle but influential. He had the kind of access that could open doors to private events, elite parties, luxury yachts, and exclusive social circles that were otherwise nearly impossible to enter. For Meghan, having someone like Marcus in her orbit wasn't just helpful, it was transformative. Soho House is notorious for its strict membership standards, and being seen there isn't just about networking. It's about status, recognition, and acceptance into an invisible social elite. With Marcus facilitating introductions and providing guidance, Meghan reportedly gained access to spaces that would have taken others years of effort if they ever got in at all. Stock images of Soho House interiors, luxury events, and high-profile gatherings provide a glimpse of the world she was moving through. Dimly lit rooms filled with designers, actors, influencers, and billionaires, all networking under the cover of exclusivity. Visualizing these circles is like seeing a web of influence, with some people at the center orchestrating connections behind the scenes. And Marcus seems to have been one of those orchestrators for Meghan. The narrative becomes even more intriguing when you look at the patterns of Meghan's pre-royal life. She traveled extensively, reportedly attending yachts parties, international luxury events, and Soho House gatherings, with a frequency that many found surprising given her public persona. These weren't casual social outings. They were high-level networking opportunities where relationships, business deals, and social positioning all intertwined. And yet, when she spoke publicly, the story was always of struggle, determination, and modest beginnings. This contrast between what the public saw and what insiders say she was experiencing paints a picture of someone who was carefully curating her image while simultaneously leveraging elite social mechanisms to advance her opportunities. Evidence of selective storytelling emerges when you look at deleted blogs, vanished friends, scrubbed photos, and revised timelines. Much of Meghan's early social media and online presence has been edited or removed entirely, making it difficult to piece together an accurate picture of her past. Old posts that might have shown luxurious vacations, high-end parties, or influential connections disappeared almost overnight. Friends and acquaintances from those periods often vanished from public view as well, quietly removed from social media or otherwise erased from timelines. These patterns suggest a level of narrative control that goes beyond typical celebrity image management. Meghan's team seems to have carefully curated what the public could know, maintaining a story of humility and struggle while quietly preserving access to an elite lifestyle. Adding to the complexity is the information revealed in Prince Harry's memoir, Spare. While intended as a personal account of his experiences and relationship with Meghan, it inadvertently shed light on details that contradicted the public story. In Spare, Harry describes how Meghan treated Soho House as a personal sanctuary, a place they used to meet discreetly and enjoy privacy. He highlights moments where she was deeply familiar with the space, its staff, and its routines, which suggests that her relationship with the club, and by extension with figures like Marcus Anderson, wasn't casual or incidental. These details unintentionally reinforced the narrative that Meghan had long-standing access to circles of influence and privilege, a reality at odds with the image of a struggling actress trying to make ends meet. The recurring patterns of reinvention in Meghan's life are striking. Each time she transitioned into a new social circle or career opportunity, she seemed to shed elements of her previous identity, leaving behind online traces, old friendships, or social connections that no longer served her current narrative. From early acting gigs to lifestyle blogging and international networking, every phase was accompanied by a carefully crafted public persona. The removal of digital footprints, combined with strategic storytelling, created an almost seamless illusion of progression, from a modest, everyday life to a figure of global prominence. Yet, as the leaked photos and insider accounts suggest, the reality behind the image may have been far more deliberate, strategic, and luxurious than the public was led to believe. Visualizing these patterns, timeline graphics and stylized animations can be incredibly revealing. Imagine a chart showing Meghan's early acting roles alongside yachting, trips, Soho House appearances, and luxury travel. Overlay that with blurred or missing photos representing deleted content, and the picture becomes one of deliberate control and selective sharing. Each reinvention, each carefully timed disappearance of a blog post or photo reinforces the idea that Meghan has been meticulously shaping how the world perceives her. The contrast between public statements about struggle and the private reality of luxury and access creates a tension that fascinates and confounds the public alike. The way Meghan navigated these elite social circles also raises questions about influence and opportunity. When you're regularly attending Soho House parties or events orchestrated by someone like Marcus Anderson, you're not just socializing, you're building a network, positioning yourself strategically, and creating opportunities that can change the trajectory of a career. For Meghan, this network seems to have been instrumental in transforming her from a moderately known actress to someone whose path eventually intersected with global royalty. It wasn't just luck. It appears to have been a combination of careful networking, strategic positioning, and the guidance of individuals who understood how to operate within the exclusive world she was entering. Yet despite all of this, Meghan maintained a narrative of modest beginnings and personal struggle, a story that resonated with many people worldwide. The dissonance between this narrative and the accounts of her pre-royal life, her elite networking, and her access to luxury created fertile ground for speculation, debate, and scrutiny. Every deleted post, every missing friend and every edited timeline added layers to the story, prompting observers to ask, was this selective editing a natural part of celebrity life, or was it a carefully orchestrated effort to present a very specific image? Ultimately, the role of Marcus Anderson, Soho House, and these high-level connections paints a picture of Meghan's social climb as far more complex than previously thought. Her pre-royal life, as pieced together from insiders, memoirs, and surviving traces of her online presence, suggests a combination of strategic access, luxury, and influence that contrasts sharply with the public image of struggle. It also highlights the broader mechanisms of celebrity and social networking, showing how exclusive clubs, influential guides, and carefully curated appearances can play a decisive role in shaping a public figure's trajectory. In the end, whether or not one chooses to view Meghan's actions as strategic reinvention, careful planning, or simply the natural unfolding of a young actress's career, the patterns are striking. They illustrate a life lived both publicly and privately, with deliberate control over perception and a hidden network of influence guiding many of the steps along the way. From deleted blogs to yachting trips, from Soho House access to elite introductions, Meghan's story reminds us that what we see on the surface is often only a fraction of the full picture, and the mechanisms behind fame and power are rarely as simple as they seem. When those leaked photos of Meghan Markle began circulating, the reaction was immediate and intense. Social media exploded within minutes. Hashtags started trending. Debates ignited on Twitter threads, and comment sections across platforms were flooded with speculation. Some people expressed shock, others skepticism, and a fair number defended her, suggesting the images were either misrepresented or taken out of context. But one thing became very clear. Meghan's silence in the aftermath became almost as loud as the leak itself. For someone known for fiercely managing her public image, issuing statements, and controlling narratives, her quiet response, or complete lack thereof, was extraordinary. Some commentators suggested it was a calculated PR strategy, a deliberate move to let the story burn itself out without giving it legitimacy, while others saw it as inadvertent confirmation, an unspoken acknowledgement that the photos revealed aspects of her pre-royal life she had hoped remained hidden. Either way, the internet couldn't stop talking. Every social media thread, comment feed, and headline clipping was dissecting her every move, or in this case, her very deliberate inaction. Part of why the story hit so hard was the history between Meghan and Piers Morgan. For years, Morgan had been one of her most outspoken critics, and their personal feud added a layer of intrigue to the leaked images. Early reports describe a ghosting incident, where Meghan allegedly cut off communication with Morgan after what he recalled as a friendly interaction, leaving him blindsided. That sense of personal betrayal lingered in the background, resurfacing now that the photos had come to light. Morgan had often publicly criticized Meghan's claims about her struggles, and when the leaked images appeared, it seemed almost like poetic timing, a culmination of years of tension between the two, now playing out on the global stage. Social media quickly picked up on this backstory, with Twitter threads and comment feeds analyzing not just the photos themselves, but the context of their release, the timing, and Morgan's role in the unfolding narrative. Headlines across the UK and beyond framed it as more than a scandal. It was a battle over narrative, perception, and control. This wasn't just a photo leak. It was a broader fight over how Meghan's story was told and who got to tell it. For many observers, the stakes of the story extended beyond celebrity gossip. The photos, combined with Meghan's Soho House connections, highlighted a pre-royal lifestyle that contrasted sharply with the expectations of the British royal family. Royals are expected to maintain discretion, uphold an image of restraint, and operate within highly controlled social environments. Meghan's pre-royal activities, elite networking, Luxury travel, private yachts, exclusive Soho House parties stood in stark contrast to these norms. The idea that a future member of the royal family had been so deeply immersed in elite social circuits raised questions about how this background might have influenced both public perception and the reactions within the royal household itself. Observers wondered, did the Duchess's pre-royal life influence the royal household's reaction? And if so, in what ways? Was there concern about image, discretion, or even potential embarrassment when details of her privileged pre-royal lifestyle came to light? Juxtaposing royal events with the leaked images only made the contrast more stark. On one hand, you have palace functions, formal dinners, and carefully staged public appearances with strict protocols and expectations. On the other hand, there are luxury parties, Soho House lounges, and yachts with an informal, opulent atmosphere where connections are built through charm, influence, and opportunity rather than ceremonial decorum. The visual tension between these two worlds, the formal rigidity of royalty versus the dynamic, unrestrained access of elite social circles, was undeniable. It wasn't just about lifestyle differences. It was about the cultural norms and expectations that Meghan would have been entering as she stepped into royal life. For some within the royal family and the media, these photos may have confirmed suspicions that her pre-royal world was very different from the modest, self-made narrative she had presented publicly. The broader stakes for the monarchy are also worth noting. The royal family operates as both a private household and a global institution, where public image is meticulously managed. Every member's behavior, associations, and even past experiences are scrutinized for their impact on the institution's reputation. A sudden revelation of a lifestyle that appears opulent, strategic, and socially exclusive could have raised concerns internally, not just because it contrasts with the public narrative, but because it might affect the perception of the royal family as a whole. Critics argued that such discrepancies could be exploited by media outlets, feeding narratives of privilege, manipulation, or inconsistency, and potentially challenging the monarchy's credibility in the eyes of the public. At the same time, defenders pointed out that Meghan's past is not inherently damaging, but the secrecy surrounding certain aspects of her life and the meticulous way it was managed made the revelations more sensational and controversial than they might have been otherwise. The social media explosion amplified these concerns in real time. People across the globe dissected every detail of the images, connecting them to Meghan's public statements, her memoirs, and even interviews with Harry. Twitter threads exploded with side-by-side comparisons of palace events and Soho House gatherings, while comment feeds debated the implications of her connections, her friends, and the role of Marcus Anderson as a facilitator in her pre-royal social climb. Hashtags proliferated, drawing attention not only to Meghan herself, but also to questions about celebrity culture, privilege, and the invisible networks that shape access to power and opportunity. The narrative wasn't just about a few photographs. It was about context, history, and the way stories are managed and consumed in the modern media landscape. For the royal family, the challenge was not just about public perception, but also internal optics. How does a household manage the integration of someone whose prior lifestyle and social strategies might clash with centuries-old expectations? The contrast between Meghan's Soho House-centered pre-royal life and the royal tradition of discretion, protocol, and measured behavior was significant. Palace insiders and commentators speculated about whether these revelations caused tension behind closed doors, even as Meghan and Harry publicly maintained a carefully polished image. The leaked photos forced a confrontation between perception and reality, both within the household and in the court of public opinion. Ultimately, the story goes beyond celebrity gossip or socialite drama. It's a look at power, image management, and the intersection of personal history with institutional expectations. The leaked Soho House photos, the social media debates, the resurfaced personal feud with Piers Morgan, and Meghan's deliberate silence all coalesce into a broader narrative about control, perception, and influence. These revelations demonstrate how past actions, social connections, and lifestyle choices can resonate far beyond the immediate circles in which they occur, especially when someone enters the global stage as a member of one of the world's most scrutinized families. For the public, for social media, and for the royal household, the stakes are high, not just because of the photographs themselves, but because of what they represent. The tension between who Meghan has presented herself to be and the hidden mechanisms that helped shape her journey before she ever became the Duchess of Sussex.